Hi, everyone, and welcome to this new conversation of excellence. I am here today with an incredible leader. I'm Stella BIDA, and I'm not alone. I am here with Yolande MEYVIS. Yolande is an incredible person, incredible leader. She's actually a leader of excellence. And she's one of these people that when you meet, you know that you just want to know more about her. She is the partner of one of the largest firm in the world related to law, and she's the partner in Brussels. She's an exceptional professional. She has won multiple recognitions, both for the inspiration she provides to others, but also for her work and her business. There's just so much to say about you, Yolande.
Well,
Welcome to the
well,
Conversations of
thank you.
Excellence.
I feel honored, but I'm in the presence of an inspiring woman like you, Stella, so it's not difficult.
Uh,
Thank
you
you very much.
you are so powerful. I'm honored to be here today with you. And I know that
Me
I've
too.
been waiting for this moment for very, very long, Yolande. I mean, I said a few things about you, but is there anything else you want to add about you before we actually dig into the conversation?
I think, well, I'm a lawyer specialized in mergers and acquisitions, buying and selling companies,
Mhm,
but I have a passion for human heart, for human rights, and I am also head of pro bono work
mhm,
in our office. So that means that we provide free legal advice to those in need. And every year we try to seek or look or pitch for a project that really fits into what I think enhances humanity. But if possible, with a specific focus on women
mm,
and other sexes' rights.
mm.
Yeah.
Yolande, I'm going to be truly honest with you. When I met you, this powerful woman in a world where, it's not always easy to navigate one's leadership abilities as a woman. You talked about being really inspired into everything related to empowering women. I have a question for you. Um, I myself have been in an environment where there have been a lot of men in, digital. I'm an IT engineer from profession, but I wanted to know, did you have to redefine a part of being a woman in order to navigate in that world?
Ah, completely. Yeah.
Mm,
It took a long time for me to realize that, to even see in the first instances that women are treated differently from men in my world, in my
mm,
career.
mm,
And it took me a long time to define my own sense of how do I want to go about it. It's a long journey. It's a long journey. It's very difficult to find your own identity because when you're a young professional, you only worry about your work and how that, you know, is perceived by those who are more senior to you.
mhm,
And I've always been in a world that is dominated by one particular culture of white men, which is not wrong.
mm,
Not, it's not wrong at all. But it took me a long time to realize I I do things differently. I sense things differently. I can do it in a more personal manner. But
mm,
it took me a long time to realize for me, like, hey, there's another way we can go about it. There's another way how I can do my job. And it doesn't have to be the same way as those who trained me, surround me, um, do it, which again is not wrong, but it's
mhm.
not me. So for a long time, it was very uncomfortable, very stressful. Not
Wow.
only the job, because that's normal, that's for everybody, but
Mhm,
it took me a long time to realize maybe it's because you're forcing yourself to do it in a way that is not
mm.
you. Yeah.
Wow. You said something like you're forcing yourself, you know.
Yeah.
I so much relate to that because I felt that way also. You're forcing yourself into a definition which is there.
Yeah.
Um, what is, if you could give one of the most important thing you had to force yourself on in order to fit, what would have that been for you? What was the biggest challenge in that forcing ourselves?
I think the main part is that I realized whatever you do as a woman in a certain position, or maybe the way I look or the way I act, I'm a very direct person. I'm always perceived as a bitch. And that takes a long time to accept that you cannot change what people think of you. You can only try to do your job in a way and try to show that you're not here to annoy people. Quite the contrary, you're there to help, and you're there to wanting to do your job at your best ability in the way that you think fit yourself. So the biggest problem for me has always been perception of others. You can feel it in a room every time.
Yeah.
And this questioning silently looking at you, especially as not only a woman, but a woman of color in the legal world. It also struck me when I got older that I was always the only person of color, usually the only woman, okay, but then the only person of color in the world that I practice. And I'm still shocked by that. So for me, that's been, it wasn't just at one point like, wow, you know, I'm realizing it, but it really came in gradually, like, wait a minute, there is something different there. The way I'm perceived is different. So I don't have to act the way people want me to, because I think automatically as a person, if you're a kind person, you want to, you know, change your behavior because so that people like you, because you always want to be liked.
Yes. 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 Yeah. You talked about always wanting to be liked. For me, it has been, I mean, you talked about the challenges of culture, etc. To be honest, for me, it has been a big challenge. And in that liking, that people pleasing, you forget yourself, you know, you truly forget yourself. I wanted to know for you, I mean, professionally, you work in everything related to merger and acquisitions. Okay. And there's a lot of change involved in that, you know. And also, as a human being, I understand that you had to redefine yourself. And there, that also involves a certain change. I wanted to ask you regarding change, especially nowadays, we're in this COVID moment and people are trying to find out their ways. It's a challenge. What is for you the best way to change? I know my question is a little bit like short, but what is the best way to change as an individual?
To accept that it is the only way forward. I want to look in the mirror whenever I do my makeup. I want to look in the mirror and not feel that I did something that wasn't true to me. So, and change is always difficult. I must say, one of the inspiring moments I had in my life is when I met you, because I think you transcend what was before, and the way you talk about leadership and be an example. I think, wow, finally a young, brilliant person comes out. So for me, that's inspiring. I learn a lot from younger people, also older. But true change, for me, it doesn't come like this. It's not like I'm changing my hair tomorrow into blonde hair. That's not how it happens. At first, I had this very uncomfortable feeling for a long time that you feel, what's going on? What's going on? I'm not feeling good about it. What is it? But you cannot really pinpoint it. Then I had to learn that you automatically, as a person, start thinking something isn't right. And you think about exterior things, other people, situations, past upbringing. You think about everything but you. It takes, for me, it was a long journey to think I can only change if I change myself, if I change the approach towards others or towards a situation. I cannot ask the whole environment to change so I would feel comfortable. That's been a long journey for me to realize, hey, it's me. It's not the others. If I want to be accepted in a way that I like it, I have to change my mentality and thought of negativity, like, oh, you don't like me. Oh, I can see that you have a bias against me. No, 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 no. Let it go. You cannot change it. Just show. And again, you're a true example for that. Just show what you want to achieve. You want to achieve leadership. You want to talk to inspiring people. That is it. And then you get away of boundaries. I also think the biggest limitation in life is always your own fears rather than other exterior things. So that has changed for me. And I still have to work on it very regularly. It's not because, oh, now I found it. No, 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 no. It's work in progress.
I was going to say, if you found it, please let me know.
No, and it depends on how you feel, There's sometimes you don't feel as good as I'm a very, very positive person, always. But that doesn't mean I cannot be in a bad mood or worry about things. So yeah, it's work in progress, but it's fun. It's fun. It's a challenge.
It's fun, right? Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love the way you talk about that. Yolande, you are also an amazing leader. You're an amazing leader. And I wanted to ask you, one of the toughest things as a leader sometimes is, we want to grow people, but it's not always easy to have these conversations, which might hurt, the person, and at the same time, which are meant to actually help them,
Tough.
Oh, yeah.
Very tough.
Yeah. My question is actually to know, what is your approach in, you said that you were a very direct person, right?
Yeah.
And what is your approach when you need to talk to a person in a, have a difficult conversation with a person, knowing that it will make the person grow, actually?
Yeah.
What is your approach to that? How do you start to have these tough conversations?
I think in my professional environment, I'm very conscious as a female leader of color that whatever you say can be attacked quite quickly. Who the hell does she think she is? She doesn't even know very often. That's the response. When I want people to grow, I've learned over time, as through a lot of leadership trainings, coachings, you name it, throughout my professional career or personally, because I'm always interested in growing in that sense, and no, I cannot do this alone. I backed away from pinpointing what the problem is, because when you do that, you attack the person immediately and there's no conversation going. Because the only thing the person to who you speak to will think like, what's going on? She's attacking me. How can I defend myself? We all have that. I have that too. If you say something negative, say, hey, hello, this is not what I... So you're immediately attacking, you're immediately defending yourself. So you don't want that. You want to try to change the behavior or to make them see why it is beneficial. I also learned that you don't change a person. You can change if you require very specific actions from a person. You have to be very specific about it. Don't say, oh, you're not talking enough when you're in a group. You should stand up. That doesn't work. It's about, okay, is there something uncomfortable? Why, when you are at the table, that you don't speak? Or is there something you want? It's very, very delicate. And I hope over years when working with people, I get some progress, but I never expect from day one, I used to though, that I had this conversation, I go. No. I want it now. So yeah, it's very delicate. I try to describe. I always try to talk about how it affects others, never to discuss. Like, for instance, if somebody's being very aggressive to another person, I would not say stop being aggressive. This is not the way to do it. I would really say, like, I want to create a culture in my professional environment of kindness. I think being successful can be perfectly in combination with kindness. You don't need to be tough to be good. And then trying, from that onwards, never attacking the person. And trying to say, if you raise your voice, it gives a sense of unsafety, not only to the person to whom you address it to, but to others in the room, because they will, ooh, what's going on? It always gives this. So yeah, I try to talk, Stella. But if you have good ideas for me, please go ahead, because I'm happy to learn.
I mean, it is one of these aspects, the tough conversation with leadership, which needs to be done. If we really want to do it in an inspiring way, we need to go there in the tough conversations. Talking about these conversations, you mentioned safety being an environment of trust.
Yeah.
What is for you the most important ingredient to getting to that space of trust? And I'm going to tell you why I asked the question. I feel that, I don't know for you, but I feel that we are in a moment of history where things need to be said as they are, and no longer, go around the stuff and come back, things need to be said. And I believe, like you, that they need to be said around a safe environment, an environment where people have an environment of trust. What is for you the ultimate, the most important ingredient to create these environments with people?
Caring. Show you care. It's not done in a professional environment. And I'm not talking about caring, bringing coffee, but show that you listen and you do take into account their needs or what they want. And trying to, because, as a leader, you never know anything. Everybody knows, but the leader doesn't. They won't come and tell it to you.
That's beautiful.
So it's difficult for me to, and when they finally come to me, it's too late very often. The situation is as such that it's very difficult to then create the safe environment. It's a tough one, because when you're in a professional world, like in any other business, the first thing you need to do is perform. You need to achieve very specific targets in your job. It's a high pressure environment. And then you don't know as a person, because you're so scared to achieving your own goals, that very often you create an unsafe environment to others, because it's competitive, and you always worry like, oh, am I good enough? I mean, if you're a man or a woman, that doesn't matter. You always worry about, am I good enough? Am I doing this? It's, are people happy with my work? So, and then to try to create a safe environment is to show you care, and you're really happy with their contributions. And when something goes wrong, you try to help out with conversations. But the days are over, I think, or at least it's not comfortable for me to say, you have to do this and you have to do that. I mean, I'm a boss. I can be a big boss. I will listen to everybody, and then I will say, okay, we did this. But that's work. When it comes to people's feelings, because safety or unsafety is all about feelings, you cannot say that. It doesn't help. So trying to have a conversation, especially now with Zoom, try to have a lot of Zoom. You don't see it on Zoom, how people feel. So trying to have then one-on-one Zooms with team members. Trying to let them know that you're okay. Thank you for being there. Thank you for being a team. Be very positive. Yeah. But it's a challenge, Stella, seriously. I'm the last one to say I'm great at it. But I really try hard, because I know that's the most important element of having a good team, good work, good good spirit, and in the end, good client satisfaction, and to be excellent in your job.
Mm. It's great. When you were talking, there was a moment when you said, as a leader, I don't know anything. Others
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
That is such a powerful and open, honest statement from you. And I cherish that because sometimes, I mean, when I work with people, they think that being a leader is about knowing everything, when
I wish.
actually, I wish too. And this is a powerful truth that you're giving to
Yeah,
people, and it's worth millions. I mean, and sometimes they forget that the power lies in the team that we have around us, right?
yeah,
Huh.
yeah, yeah.
What is for you the way to identify the A players, the best team members?
You see it immediately.
Mm.
It's the ones behind, apart from their intelligence and smartness at every level.
Mm.
It's what we call professional. It's as ancient as the world as history. It's about showing you are there to do the job, you're ready, you take initiative, you connect immediately, you ask around, you talk to people, what you're doing, can I help you with that? Oh, what about this? Oh, I read something about that. Oh, let's do this. You see it immediately. And sometimes people surprise you because they grow into it. And sometimes people surprise you completely the other way around. Yeah. For me, but of course, I'm not, you know, I'm not a talent person in the sense that I know
Yeah.
how to seek out talent. And of course,
Yeah.
I'm supported by a great team worldwide. But
Mm-hmm.
my personal experience in the end is still, you never know, Stella, in the beginning. It's once you are working with them
Mm.
that you notice. It's very, very difficult. And I'm not the one at interviews to ask these tricky questions like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? What do you do?
I love the
I
way you're
hated,
mimicking.
yeah, I hated those questions when I was young. Like, how do I know? Just give me a job so I can, be better at what I do. I try to be. So I try to have
You're wonderful. That's why I
yeah,
love you. It's just like, say things as they are, you know?
yeah, yeah. I asked them about, yeah, what you think you want when you start here, what do you expect? And then talking a lot of talks about the culture. I mean,
Mm.
our office in Brussels, the nationalities from all over the world.
Mm.
If you don't like international, don't come. There are enough other firms who don't have that. There is not one case you're working on without other countries
Mm.
from everywhere in the world being involved. If you don't like that, don't do it. Don't come.
Mm. Mm.
So I try to give an honest image
Mhm.
of what it's like
Mhm.
where I'm at. And then I try to ask again, do you see yourself in that?
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's right, Stella, but
Again,
I mean,
Yolande, I love this conversation. You're such a true person, really. And I believe you mentioned honesty. I believe that
yeah,
today we need a world where we just have conversations between human beings around honesty. And just I mean, the number of times you mentioned, I don't have the whole solution, but let's
yeah,
talk.
yeah,
For me, that's really the idea. And that's how we grow as human beings, and we
yeah.
accept a part of our, that's just the way we are. And if you like it, join me. And I wanted to ask you about honesty. Hmm. I don't even know what is exactly my question, but I think what I meant to asking is, do we always need to be honest? What do you think about it?
No, 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 definitely not. No, 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 no. Doesn't bring you very much. It's always when
Yeah.
people say, just be you and you'll be fine. No, it's not true. If you're just you,
Wow.
you're not fine. You need to know
Mm-hmm.
how an organize whatever you do.
Mm-hmm.
You need to know what your organization is. You need to know what they require from you, and you need to know how to communicate with people a way that you don't offend. If you're all the time honest, come on, we're not that, you know, sometimes, you know, you think things are more likable than others. That's fine. So no, I don't think you should have that. You should have a very specific goal and make sure that people work for that. So my specific goal is to create a #1 team in Belgium and to create a #1 Belgian practice, because there's room to have that. But how to do it? Who, which method? You do that with the team together. And to be honest, not everybody always likes or agrees with what it's said.
Yes.
You don't always have to voice that. No, I don't agree. No, I agree. It doesn't make something creative, and it doesn't make something going forward. So I don't know. I think especially when with young people, when they say, "Oh, just be you." No, it's not enough. You have to develop talents. You have to develop techniques. You have to enhance your communication, and you learn that only by being in an environment. And you have to let go a bit of who you are. I mean, okay, today is not a good day today, but whatever. I'll be professional and go in there. Yeah.
It's very powerful what you're saying. And
what do you think about honesty? Because that's a big theme in your experience.
It is a big theme. And I think it's one of these things where you need balance, you know. Honesty, I think there's two sides. There's like honesty with ourselves, first of all.
Yeah.
And once you're honest with yourself, you can easily voice and interact with others in that honesty. So it's,
wow, I agree. Yeah.
You know, it's like one of these topics where there's honesty with yourself, but with others, I mean, you're dancing.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, it's like, it's one of these topics, like, it's always like, where do we dance? But I think it all starts with being honest with ourselves. And to be honest,
true.
to be honest, I haven't been honest with myself for long. You know, when we were talking about that journey of discovering ourselves, etc., I wasn't honest with myself. I was just like fitting, but without self-expressing myself. And that's where, like, you know, it's like what I call the pressure cooker.
The
pressure
that's
cooker.
Well said. Yeah, you keep doing what you're doing because you think you're fine, and then all of a sudden it's too much. Yeah, we all have very similar experiences, right? Where you think, boom. Boom.
It's like, okay, I can't do anything anymore. Wow.
Done.
Talking about the boom, you know, and how the pressure cooker piles up. Let's go before there was the pressure cooker, which means like when we were young. And I wanted to ask you, Yolande, if you had the Yolande of 10 years old in front of you, you could talk to her, what would you tell her?
Don't lose your patience that often. Take your time. Things take time. When I was young, at 10 years, I was very impatient. I still am, but I try to control it. I want to make changes now. I want to do it now. I want to go for it now. No time to waste. Let's do it. What do we need to do? How do we do it? Go. Yeah. And I would tell, and of course, when you're young, you're much more intense. The feelings are much more intense, which is lovely. And you always think immediately, oh my God, it's not going to happen. So it's not going to happen. It's terrible. You don't have this perspective like, hold on, just chill, just wait. So that's what I would tell to my 10-year-old self. Yeah. Have patience. Yeah. Doesn't happen in one day. Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. And you, what would you say to your 10-year-old? I'm very curious now, Stella. What would you say to yourself?
Oh, what would I tell her?
Yeah.
I would, you know, that's a question, right? And I asked the question. I would tell her, listen to that voice that down.
Good one, because that's very strongly developed as of the age of 7, apparently. Just so you know. So yes, good one.
Listen to her voice, and keep her. Don't shut her down. To be honest, I have goosebumps saying this.
Yeah. Wow.
That's what I would tell her.
You're so right. Yeah. Because children have this very strong sense.
Right? Yeah.
And of course, with education, you need to ignore that. But the education is about book smart and behavior, which is all good.
Yeah.
But
It's not wrong.
but the one shouldn't exclude the other. So I think that's a great message to yourself. Yeah, that's loving. That's very warm. Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
Thank you for asking me the question, actually. I haven't really thought about that, but saying it feels good.
Yeah.
As you said, it shouldn't be like one thing or another.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And
yeah.
The voice.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I don't like, in general, consistency. People always say, be consistent. Like, if you decide you want to be a vegetarian, don't eat meat. That's consistent. I don't like that, because if you want to be consistent, you'll never get anywhere. If you want to say, and as a young person, we are so taught, and I think that's universal as a child, you need to do this and this and this and this. And then, the inner voice, I cannot listen to because that's not part of a program. You don't always have to listen to it, but if you want to, you should. And yeah, beautiful stuff.
I love what you said.
Fully understand what you said. Yeah.
What you said. And when you were talking, it's like what you said speaks to the fact that we need to give ourselves a space of exploration.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because sometimes that path that society has put, maybe there's no right or wrong, but maybe it's not the only path, you know, maybe there's another one. But if we're stuck there, we can't explore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially when the voice tells you another path than the one you're supposed to follow.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. It's a difficult one, isn't it? When your inner voice says this, and then and I think as a child, that's even more difficult, because of course you don't talk about it.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Yeah. You're like, who?
Wow, Yolande, this conversation, I am just loving it. I would stay here for like hours with you, to be honest. I love it. But I also know that, you know, we're almost at the end of our conversation. And before we end, I always ask myself, what is that question that I didn't ask to Yolande, that you think would help people to explore more of their leadership abilities?
I think the question would be how to be a leader. And I always think it's in the small things. And I don't mean micro management. That's not what I mean. I don't mean controlling everything. But it is in the small things. And in life, it's the same. Everybody agrees war is bad, killing is bad. But the way we go about it is very different. And when we feel uncomfortable, or we feel we're not at the right place, or we feel like my life isn't going the way I thought it would be at this stage, it's very often because of small things, not about the promotion you missed, not about the COVID outside or with you. It's about feelings, relationships, how you feel about certain things, and it can be very small. It doesn't have to be the big question, life, you know, where do we go in this world? And you cannot really say that as a leader, because then you look bad, like, oh, she only cares about the small things. No, it's not true. I know very well where I go professionally, what I want. But to go about it, you have to look at the small things in life. Yeah. And a lot of people forget that. Yeah. In a career path. I mean, I'm not the, yeah. You have the same? You look at the small things, Stella, so I shouldn't even ask you. you know, because, you know, the mere fact you do this, you know, it's important. Yeah.
Right. You know, one of the things, I love that you talk about the tiny little things. These are the things which sometimes unlock the biggest mountains, biggest hurdles in our lives are in the smallest things. And I love that you mentioned that. So thank you very much. I mean, this conversation is gold. Honestly, it's really gold. I myself
Same for me.
really come back to it. These are the times I think this conversation is a moment where I will not forget it, to be honest. Thank you very much,
Same for me.
Yolande, for sharing with us. I mean, the people who are watching us, this is gold, truly. Thank you, Yolande, for being with us. Thanks a lot.
With pleasure. Thank you so much for having me, Stella.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.